Blog Talk Radio.
Well, good morning, everyone, and happy Sunday across the nation. Our beautiful America, that we are going to keep our liberties and keep our police in check. This morning, we're doing a show with One Mom on a Borough. This is Rene Powers with some special guests today, and we've got a lot of people in queue already. What we're going to talk about today is Policing the Police, Watch the Watchers with Jason Bassler. Jason heads Police the Police, and with over 500,000 followers, almost 500,000 followers on Facebook and growing. What this is telling us, folks, is that we have an epidemic. We've got a problem. But we also have good guys out there in uniform. So what is the problem? Could the problem be the system? Not all the men and women in uniform? Could the problem be that they become debt collectors instead of peacekeepers? They're now ticket givers, third-party debt collectors? Just a thought. Could they be collecting and hurting people or having, without knowing, insurances being collected behind the scenes? We're going to talk about some of this today. My wonderful co-host today is Donna Early. Donna runs and heads an organization, Advocacy for Animals and Freeze, Don't Shoot. It's become apparent that animals across our country, our dogs, have been killed, have been being victimized, and there's footage of these officers literally shooting these animals point blank in the head without provocation. Why? We know the good guys are out there to be able to stop this, so we're going to hope this is a show that you can take some information from and realize we are not anti-police. We're not anti-government. We're anti-corruption within the system, and we've got to change this. And we're hoping to work with authorities as well to bring the changes. So let me bring in a woman who I find and respect dearly. Donna, good morning. Please introduce yourself. Thank you for being my co-host on the Borough today.
Thank you so much, Renee. My name is Donna Early. I hail in the state of Arizona, and I founded the group Freeze, Don't Shoot, which is a national group that are rally against police shootings of our family pets. And we are trying to move for change, and there's some things that, that we're wanting to ask that our police departments implement to help stop these shootings. They're devastating families, traumatizing children, and they're creating distrust, and they're losing integrity as those who are in place to protect us. So it's kind of a sad situation all the way around. We want to understand, but it's hard to understand when you talk to these families whose dogs have been shot, and you see the grief and the pain. It's hard. It is hard to understand police from that standpoint.
Yeah, Donna, it really is. And this week I read an article. The Hawthorne Police in California started a class for their officers. And one of the quotes in the class was that the officers are taught to be loud and commanding and firm, and they don't find that works with animals. And I thought, hello, that doesn't work with men or women either. Hello, right. This has got to change. So I'm going to bring Jason in now because, Jason, good morning, Jason. I really appreciate you being here, and that was my lead-in to you. If the police are saying that loud and commanding voices are too much for an animal, doesn't that show us that there's change that needs to be done? Please introduce yourself. Thank you, sir, for joining us today and all you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Renee. Hi, Donna. My name is Jason Bassler from California, and co-own and social media manager of the freethoughtproject.com. I also work with Police the Police group. That was a group I founded about 3 years ago, and work with a handful of other groups like Cop Block, the Anti-Media, and the Drug War. And basically we're just working for police accountability, much on the point of your topic today. Also trying to give people a platform to share their stories. A lot of times these incidents do happen and they don't really get to reach the public, so a lot of times we do our best to give that voice to the people who are being, accosted and abused by police.
No, let me ask you a question, Jason. I saw another story this week, too, where there's a city that is offering $2,500 as a reward for any footage of an incident, and I can't remember where it was, so I apologize for bringing this in, but $2,500 to anyone who can bring in footage of a crime that was committed against another, and it was police brutality. I mean, the witnesses there all saw it, and so they were offering. And the article said that the police were worried and concerned because of this tactic being taken. And this is, to me, people like yourself, like Donna, who have stepped out of their comfort zone to take on a task so big that there's people all over that are learning that there's remedy and there's ways to hold people accountable. And when you talk about the footage, and we see all the footage on Police the Police, tell us a little bit about how that came. Why did Police the Police come about? How did you get started in this?
Sure, absolutely. I was doing activism for a while, but more or less I was just paying attention to the world around me and trying to understand what was going on. So once that kind of started to happen, it was just a matter of time before the Occupy Wall Street movement kind of came around. And I can't say I'm completely in support of all their tactics and maybe even some of their thoughts and leanings, but at the same time, I did watch the police not really respect their First Amendment rights to, organize and protest. And so once I realized that was kind of being violated, not only that, just watching the police just toss around protesters violently, abusing their rights and just their person, it was frustrating. And basically at that point for me, it was kind of like the wake-up call. Like, I personally need to do something. I personally need to get involved with this and try to have an understanding more or less of what's going on and kind of go from there. At the same time, being a news junkie that I was, every day I was seeing, another story of police brutality or unarmed shootings or whatever it may be. Just like Donna's familiar with, plenty of pets are being killed. Not just dogs, cats too, by police. So I realized that there needed to be some kind of place on the internet that was kind of documenting all these, and so that's when I formed Police the Police. And of course, there's so much, it's hard to keep up with every story that's happening, but we try to cover the most important ones that we feel are going to resonate with people. And so, that's more or less why Police the Police was started. It was more of just a place for documenting, a place basically to point at, to say, wow, look at all this is happening, and you can't avoid all these news stories day after day of what's going on.
Right. Well, not only can you not avoid them, but Justice for Simone is a page that was created this week. The family lost their dog in Arizona. That's how Donna and I met, because I saw that picture, and what's interesting is that picture looks just like one of my daughter's dogs. She was a rescue with a litter of 3 pit bull puppies with a mama that we rescued at our home, who were left at a neighbor's house, which was devastating. I had never allowed pit bulls on our property, on our ranch, with goats and things. I had very strict rules. Well, when I came walking back from that home with these 3 little 8-week-old puppies falling around my feet and fumbling, and the mother still with milk following me, my heart just went straight to my toes and up to my neck. I was full of heart for this animal, and I realized it was a presumption, and I was profiling this dog without even giving it a chance. And here we have one of the puppies now who's 3 years old, Minnie, and she looks just like Simone did. So like you, Jason, I jumped in and I went, oh, my God, there's something going on here. And usually I do research. Carol Keene and I are research partners in the United States, and what we find is corruption usually comes back to what? The dollar.
Right.
And my concern in looking into this was, where are the insurances being paid? Because, Donna, you told me about a gentleman who has killed over 100 dogs. And
yes.
It made me think about, how is insurance being paid? And these dogs are licensed, so they are the counties, the cities, the municipalities. And, Jason, maybe you can open up some information here. I don't know. Maybe people haven't thought about it before. But when they license your animal, it is licensed to them as a third-party secured party. Now, they are a secured party in that animal. Do they make insurance off of the death of that animal? Because it's property. What I'd like to do now is introduce both of you to a woman who I have utmost respect for. She is an Olympian gold medalist, basketball player, diplomat for us in the United States. She has played ball in Europe, has represented the United States with pride and with joy. And she herself, for the last at least 8 years, has been battling both police corruption in her life as well as her animal's life. I would like to introduce you both right now to her. Her name is Cindy Brown. Cindy, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us, dear friend. Say hello and give us an idea of what's going on with you.
Thank you, Renee. Good morning to everybody. And, Renee, thank you for having me on your radio show. It's really appalling to know that, you represent and served your country for many years no differently than what a soldier would do in the battlefield, putting his life out there in risk. It's really kind of shocking because, after retirement of such a long journey of traveling all over the world, ambassadoring as a U.S. Olympian for the United States of America, you would never think to come home and experience something so traumatic, so humiliating. In fact, it's almost a blessing that it happened to me because I would have never understood or may have not done anything about it because I wouldn't have been able to sympathize or understand what the common folks are going through. So
right.
I've made it my passion now, knowing and seeing and experiencing everything that's going on. People automatically assume that I'm the 1%. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not it. In fact, I am the 99%, and I will speak for you when you can't. I will pick you up when you fall. I will make sure that we are equal and we will walk together. I experienced both the pet harassment, and I haven't encountered the actual shooting, but I'm assuming that they're probably going to try to work their way and wiggle their way into that arena. Right now, I'm just battling with keeping my home, where I've had my identity stolen, and these clowns were able to orchestrate a identity theft and stripping all the equity out of a home property and causing it to go into default and foreclosure. And I tell you,
and you had an incident. Did you not, Cindy, have an incident with the police actually drawing their guns on you because someone called you in as a suicide?
Yes, ma'am. That was just the turn of what is really going on with the people. If they're doing this to me, they're doing definite worse things to the people. I've never been woke out of a dead sleep, to be accused of a crime in which I had no knowledge or involvement with. But to have someone come and shooting guns off in front of the house and then entering at 12 in the morning to accuse me that I'm committing suicide. Well, that's interesting. I just opened the door. Peekaboo, here I am. But, I fought about a year and a half worth of litigation, where they try to incarcerate me for something that I had no involvement in. But, in fact, they couldn't even bring those charges forward, so they had to basically trump up other charges that may be able to stick, as in resist, delay, and obstruct, which I had no knowledge of the law back then or what it meant. But it basically was saying that I blocked them from coming into my home, which is a part of their office and duties to ensure the safety of all well-beings in my home, without warrant, without any type of paperwork that said they had a right to be there. In fact, they raided the whole home, opened every drawer like I was a drug dealer, and I basically got injured because they slammed me into the wall, where I fell into the foyer at gunpoint, half naked. And they
Cindy,
got away with it.
This is key. They got away with it. It's been about 8 years. Jason, you hear these stories all the time. Now, Cindy is an Olympian. She is a woman who, if was not known, could have possibly ended up dead that night. had she have not had a friend in the house. Tell us a little bit about when Cindy explained what happened to her, tell us what you heard and help us understand what we can do for our nation so that, because like she said, she had no idea of the law before. And so people react sometimes and they pull us into reactions so that they can hold us, so that they can falsely arrest us, because you do things you don't even know you're doing that are allowing them to do it to you. Can you talk to this a little bit?
Sure, and I was completely horrified hearing that story, Cindy. I certainly apologize for having to experience that trauma. I mean, it sounds terrible. But basically, it doesn't surprise me, unfortunately. I feel like we're going to continue to see this, and we're going to see more of it until there is some kind of accountability. That is, almost every time that police do break the law. I mean, Cindy had mentioned that there was no warrant for the invasion, so, I mean, right then and there, that's breaking the law. So, unfortunately, I feel like we all have to be very vigilant about knowing our rights. We need to be very vigilant about applying them. Not only that, but we also need to film police when situations, interactions like that happen. Cindy, if you filmed the police in that situation, that probably would have given you a little more leeway to pursue a legal avenue to get some kind of resolve in that situation. But unfortunately, this is what happens when systematically there is no accountability within the system, and it seems like police see incidents like Eric Garner, and it gives them even more carte blanche, with the non-indictment to continue to be this aggressive and do these illegal acts. So, I hate to hear it, but unfortunately it's going to keep happening.
Well, Cindy and I are both in the same jurisdiction. We're both in Orange County, which is Hutchins, and I've actually been in a meeting with Cindy. Gosh, how many years is this now, Cindy? 6, 8 years that you've been actually giving reports, and it's been shoved to one side or another, and as we call it, policing the police. But we know, Jason, Donna, what will happen to both Cindy and I is when you get things back, they say we found no wrongdoing, and yet they're the ones investigating themselves. Something is amiss here. Cindy, has it been about 6, 8 years of you?
Yeah, well, in this whole battle, I've been fighting since 2005, and I still hold possession of the property, which they're trying to bully me out, and actually threatened to arrest me if I didn't leave the city. And I just laughed at them. I said, okay, right, okay. But, since 2005, I've been battling this. And, Jason, like you said, filming the police is the key. I learned later in the game that they didn't like the camera. So, in fact, the day that they actually came in and did the raid, I had a commissioner on the phone. They actually snatched me and then snatched my phone, hung it up, and threw it outside. So a lot of information really wasn't allowed before the court because the judge pretty much knew that they had violated every constitutional right that I had, and actually took the case at trial. The trial lasts for 5 minutes. After having the deputy or sergeant on the witness stand, the judge took the case from the jury trial and dismissed it, which is really unheard of. A jury trial has to be the ones that make the decision. No, the judge took it from the jury. So that's telling you another thing. There's something wrong with our system. These are ploys to just kind of get the people riled and give excuse to detain or arrest, if not get rid of us, or to have reasons to shoot. But I've learned pretty much the game because I've studied and watched them. I've studied and watched the attorneys. And so I basically repeat what they do. And you'll find that when you are mimicking them, they get a chance to see themselves, and they tend to back off. If there's an incident report, I'll write mine. They'll write theirs. I'll put it in affidavit form. They don't like seeing that.
And that key right there, Cindy, what you just said, Jason, I don't know the people that call you and the people listening to this, and we're going to have a lot of people that hear this, affidavits are key. You don't want to just give a statement or a complaint, because remember, complainers are whiners. You don't want to be a complainer or a whiner. You're accusing. You're doing an affidavit of accusing them of what's happened to you. Affidavits unrebutted in affidavit form are not, if they don't rebut them in affidavit under penalty of perjury, that's how you rebut an affidavit. That you can't just, you, Jason, send in an affidavit saying, Officer Joe Blow beat me over the head, here's the film of it, I have proof, here's my proof, signed, sealed, notarized, and him just say, I didn't do it, and then them take his word for it. You can't do that anymore. Affidavits are powerful, and that's one thing Cindy has learned. Donna, this is another thing for your animal advocates. I know that the gentleman who owns Simone had cameras on his house, which is huge. Do you have anything to say to that, Donna, about, you've got 50 different groups across the United States with Freeze Don't Shoot for the animals. Can you put a little light on, because Jason, I know, he's got a following. He's like you, passionate. What do you say to what you're hearing here?
Well, what I'm hearing is it's pretty much straight across the board for anything. Because everything that Cindy had said, I could set and apply it to just about every case that I hear of these animals. And the video footages, although, most everybody's learning that's the way to handle these things now, is we've come up to a point with Maximus, the dog in Cleburne, Texas. Clearly was captured on police body cam of the officer calling the dog to him, the dog wagging the tail, and the cop shot the dog 3 times. The video went viral. We had a petition out with 150,000 signatures, which was 5 times the population for that little town. But here just the other day, they justified the guy. He didn't.
And
how do you
do that? How do you do that? You do that by, Jason, this is key, and Cindy, you know this too. Things happen behind closed doors. Money transfers, settlements are made. People go quiet not because they want to, but because they're under duress. And when some family has a situation, and previously they had $5 in the bank, living day to day, which is what most people in the nation are really doing, and they're offered $30,000, $50,000, $15,000 in apology by the behind the scenes with no proof of or claim of wrongdoing. Many times the families will just settle because they see what happens. Jason, what do you say to this as far as people who are taken behind closed doors? I know you hear about it. People beat up, people hurt, and the next thing you know, they're behind closed doors and they're dropping everything.
Yeah, it's more or less that's kind of what we see almost every time, unfortunately, and it does seem like I was mentioning earlier with the non-indictment for Eric Garner and Michael Brown, and it's very frequent that this happens, and unfortunately, it seems to be, and this might be a little bit of an oversimplification, but when the judge, the prosecutor, and the officer are all actors of the state, then there's probably not going to be very much fairness or justice, accountability for the people, and that kind of gets into some deeper issues. But I think more or less when we could, kind of keep them accountable and apply pressure through city council meetings and, oversight groups, committees and whatnot, then we're going to see more results. And I think it kind of goes back to that old saying, when the people fear the government, there's going to be tyranny, but when the government fears the people, there's going to be liberty. So we really all need to step up and, apply pressure and let them know that we're watching and paying attention to all these issues. And I think that's starting to happen. I think people across the country, as we saw for both Michael Brown and Eric Garner protests, that, regardless of the protest tactics, the people are kind of becoming more aware of these issues. So.
Yes, right. And Jason, do you know about Robert Lawrence. He was a gentleman just a few weeks ago, just at the New Year. Robert was actually taking a dog in that he found off the street to the pound. And he had his children with him, his girlfriend, and because he didn't have ID to show, which he's not committing a crime. He's taking a dog to the pound, for God's sakes. He ended up shot in the stomach by an officer they tried to say he was being mean and getting loud and altercation, but the man was just trying to say, hey, I'm here to return a dog. I've done no crime. Well, I don't need to show you ID. In the scuffle, the officer shot him and killed him. Shot him in the stomach, and the first report was that he was fine, that he was at the hospital, and it wasn't life-threatening. Yesterday, there was an event in Claiborne. Donna, can you speak to that just real quickly, because we're down to the last 4 minutes, and I want to close with Cindy and Jason.
Yes. Well, we all know there was a closed-door meeting. The owners come out saying they're satisfied with what Claiborne told them that justified the shooting of their dog. However, again, the family was satisfied, but you have 150,000 other advocates out here that says, oh, no, this is not going to happen. And so they set for a rally yesterday, and they had the police blocking the streets. There was some kind of compressor there. The mayor moved it through council to stop them from protesting on the police department grounds. One person showed up to that rally yesterday. So they're not only taking the families behind the closed doors, is they are making their citizens, advocates, fearful of what they're going to put them through if they stand up and speak.
Mm-hmm. And see, and Donna, and Jason can tell you, this is where education is key. Jason, do me a favor. Give me a website. Give me contact information for Police the Police and your other groups so that now I've put your information on our link to the show here. It's in there. But can you please put it out on air for those who need to know how to get a hold of you or participate and start getting involved?
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody has any information they'd like to share with us, freethoughtproject.com is probably the best way. Otherwise, we're on Facebook and Twitter as Police the Police, a community project, and Twitter it's Police ACP. And actually, something really quick that we're doing, we're actually starting a GoFundMe campaign on the Free Thought Project for cops that want to come out as whistleblowers. So we're trying to give them some financial incentive to kind of speak out and ease the burden if they do have to transition between employment and whatnot. So something to think about for your listeners if they do kind of want to contribute to the cause.
That is awesome. I hope everybody heard that. The GoFundMe through Police the Police, correct?
It's going to be the Free Thought Project, actually.
The Free Thought Project. That is awesome. For the police and the officers and the public servants who want to come out and change this, because we know, you and I know, all of us on this call know, these men and women in uniform, they didn't sign up to be debt collectors. They didn't sign up to hurt people. They originally went into, well, some of them may, but they originally went into the job thinking they were going to be helping the community and doing a justice, taking an oath to serve and protect. When did serve and protect become kill and collect? Cindy, give us some final words here as a U.S. Olympian, as a woman, as a homeowner who's been fighting corruption, as a friend of mine who I've sat in police reports with you and sheriff reports and heard the excuses. Give me 30 seconds. Pull it together for me.
I'm just really thrilled to be on your show, to at least be able to talk to, all the followers. If I could give you word of wisdom, you're in the right forum, you're in the right direction. Continue to stick together as an Olympian. It takes a team to bring home the gold. We are the team. We're after the gold. Keep your thoughts, keep your focus nice and tight, and don't deviate from what our mission is. Bring home the gold. The gold is
bring
restore.
Home the gold.
Yeah, let's bring it home, folks. That's
restore
the
our
best
liberty.
Planet. That's correct. This is
and
gold.
remember, an unlawful law cannot stand. And when freedom's illegal, it's time to be an outlaw, folks. We stand together. We bring liberties back. Thank you, Jason, Donna, Cindy. we'll do follow-ups. Jason, thank you so much for Police the Police, Watch the Watchers. It's time that we as Americans stand together. Listen to Clinton Kirby's When Freedom's Illegal, Gotta Be an Outlaw. Until the next time, thank you. From Rene on One Mom on a Borough. Bye, folks.